What's up everybody, my name is Zach, but you can call me the Z-Man, and let's talk next generation consoles. With the PlayStation 5 reveal event officially over, we now have all the information that we need on the next generation consoles, including price and release date. So today I wanted to go over each of the consoles' advantages and disadvantages, how they operate, and whether or not you should pick one up at launch, or if maybe you should wait until their game libraries build up a bit more. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, make sure you comment down below, tell me which console you're planning on getting, and subscribe. You can subscribe, hit the bell icon, that way you're notified of more videos that might come to this channel, because I'm working on stuff. I'm working on some stuff. So when it comes to comparing these consoles, there's a lot of stuff to go over. There's entire spreadsheets dedicated to comparing these two consoles against each other. I want to start with price. When the Xbox Series S originally leaked with its very aggressive $299 price point, I immediately thought that Xbox probably could win this generation, what with cheap usually being a determining factor. Think PlayStation 2, think the Wii. But the more that we learn about the Xbox Series S, the worse it seems to get. For one thing, it only has a 512GB SSD, which on a digital-only console isn't a ton and will likely lead to a lot of game deleting. It also won't even be able to play the Xbox One X enhanced versions of last gen titles. However, it does have a lot to offer. It is a 1440p console, a little bit better than the Xbox One S, a little bit worse than the Xbox Series X. However, it is able to upscale to 4K, and it does play streaming services in 4K, and it has very little lost power in terms of graphics processing and CPU power compared to the Series X for next-gen titles. Now, PlayStation did battle back with the $399 price point on its digital-only version, and especially with both PlayStation 5 consoles having the exact same specs, that $399 price point does battle the Series S pretty well. However, I'm a collector. I like to buy physical discs for my games, so I'm gonna focus on the disc versions of the next gen consoles, being the Series X and the full PlayStation 5, both of which are at $499. So price isn't really a factor, and features are what's gonna be the most important thing, likely. Power-wise, each of these consoles are pretty similar, with both of them housing custom AMD chipsets. However, the Xbox Series X does have an advantage in terms of pure graphics processing power over the PlayStation 5 in terms of teraflops, 12.0 to 10.3. Where PlayStation does pull ahead is in its SSD, with a custom NVMe SSD with a throughput of 5.5 gigabits per second. Comparing that to Xbox Series X's SSD output of 2.4 gigabits per second, it is more than doubling that SSD's file read speed. PlayStation will also allow third-party NVMe SSDs to be used on their console if it is fast enough. So similarly to like the PlayStation 3 or the PS4, where you could open up your console and change out the hard drive, you will be able to add other SSDs to your console, but they have to be fast enough. Xbox, however, is going to use a custom proprietary SSD slot that you have to buy cards for in order to expand the memory on your Xbox, which, to be honest, is probably going to be necessary considering both SSDs on these consoles are 1 terabyte or less, with the Xbox Series X being a 1 terabyte SSD and the PlayStation 5 opting for an 815 gigabyte SSD. Each of these consoles expect to be able to hit 8K resolution, which is available on extremely few TVs right now, and each of them expects to be able to output 120 frames per second at lower resolutions at launch. Now, we haven't gotten a good look at PlayStation 5's UI, whereas we have gotten a good look at Xbox's, and Xbox's is clean. They just recently updated, I believe. It does look pretty clean, it runs really well, and hopefully PlayStation 5's will run as smoothly. We just don't know yet. Each console is planning to use a quick resume feature, as well as have a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray slot on their disc versions. And these boxes are massive. The PlayStation 5 is huge. Trying to find a spot for that with its weird shape and weird design is difficult. Like, I'm sitting here at my desk, and I think the only place I could probably get this to go is like right here, positioned between my TV and one of my monitors. Maybe. It might be a little bit too tall, who knows? It might have to go on the ground. And the Xbox Series X isn't much better. It is shorter than the PlayStation 5, but it is also a bit wider, making it a weird positioning to figure out where that could go. The only console that really has a similar shape to last generation is going to be your Series S, which is a little bit smaller than an Xbox Series X in terms of its form factor. It does have a weird black circle on it that looks like a speaker. I know it's not a speaker, it's a fan, but just all these consoles look weird. Now, where Xbox blows the doors off of Sony is in terms of backwards compatibility. The PlayStation 5 will be able to play most of your PlayStation 4 games, and Sony seems really unwilling to tell us which PlayStation 4 games it's going to allow us to play. However, Xbox's next generation of consoles is going to allow us to play all of our previous generation games, as well as the backwards compatibility libraries for both the Xbox 360 and the original Xbox that are currently available. And speaking of games, between the Xbox and the PlayStation, they don't have a massive offering at launch. Between the two consoles, there will only be one next generation only console exclusive game, and that is Demon's Souls. That's right, sometime after the PlayStation 5 event, games like Spider-Man Miles Morales and Sackboy's Big Adventure did get confirmed to have PlayStation 4 versions of those games. And even Xbox's big tentpole game in Halo Infinite got delayed to 2021. Leaving them with next to nothing at launch on their brand new consoles. Even that game was going to be available on the Xbox One series of consoles. However, this kind of does fall in line with what Xbox's focus is, though. They're not focused on selling you a new box. What their big focus is to get you playing Xbox games wherever you are, whether that's on a PC, whether that's on last generation hardware, whether that's on your phone. And that's done through Game Pass Ultimate, their big offering that absolutely destroys PlayStation Plus. Game Pass Ultimate has an impressive library of games, with each first-party title coming to Game Pass Ultimate on its release day. Compare that to PlayStation Plus's collection of PS4 games that most people have already played and free games that you can get every month. Game Pass Ultimate also offers xCloud. You're able to play your games on the go on an Android device. Not to mention the fact that it just got EA access as well for its library of games. So in the end, the question becomes, what is a person to do? And I can't really tell you. Each of these consoles will be good for third-party games, and each console's first-party offerings are, quite frankly, very, very limited. So really all I can do is tell you what my decision ended up being. And to me, it almost always comes down to the games. When the Nintendo Switch launched with its tentpole title, Breath of the Wild, I knew that I had to play that game on the newest hardware. Sure, Breath of the Wild was available on the Wii U, but I really wanted to get a Nintendo Switch in order to play this game and its best capacity. And honestly, coming into this generation, I've got a similar mindset. Looking at Xbox's offering, there's nothing that really screams, you have to play this on the best hardware available. Halo could have been that game, but ultimately it got delayed, so everything else that Xbox has to offer is available on last generation or on PC. So looking at my Xbox One X and my PC that's sitting right next to me, I feel good with those options over a next generation box. PlayStation, however, does have that game that's coming out on launch that I want to play on next gen consoles. And that game is Spider-Man Miles Morales. I mean, sure, I could play this game on PlayStation 4, but I wouldn't get the best offerings. I wouldn't get the fastest load times. I wouldn't get the ray tracing. Look at the ground in this shot. So in the end, between the boxes, I personally choose PlayStation 5 at launch. And now all that's left is for me to pre-order my PlayStation 5. Oh, they're already all sold out. Fuck!